I didn't learn about this in school, and I bet you didn't either. Did you know that many Black Americans actually fought for the British in the American Revolutionary War? The year was 1775, a year before the beginning of America, and many Black Americans were defecting, I don't know if that's the right word to use, from the United States and their enslavers and joining the British to fight. Harris, in particular, escaped in July and used his knowledge of naval ships and the Chesapeake Bay to help the British fight against America. He was, quote, one of thousands of enslaved people who would join the British, far outnumbering those who joined the Patriot cause. Why does this matter? Well, one is physical proximity. This is actually directly across the water from the very first slave ship that ever landed in the United States. But another reason is that word defect. Does it make sense to call a Black American who wants to fight against their enslaver a traitor or a defector? Like, absolutely freaking not. In no way does that make sense. But the third and most important reason is that this is one example of many of how there has been Black agency in the process of fighting against slavery that is systematically erased. I can't speak to your educational experience, but the way that I was taught about the history of slavery, Blackness is so often completely passive in the process. I mean, it's like a fairy tale, right? Once upon a time, there was slavery, then Abraham Lincoln freed the slaves, and then Martin Luther King gave a speech and ended racism. But that kind of paternalistic white saviorism erases Black agency from the American equation, and that is not okay. I have many videos about the various ways that deliberate white supremacy has affected the history of the United States. But just as important is that recognizing that the ones who wrote down freedom on the constitutional page were not the only ones fighting to make that freedom a reality. Which is why Nicole Hannah-Jones writes that no one has more of a claim to fly the American flag than Black Americans. They are founders too. It's 2022. I read 40 books last year. This year, one of the first that I'm reading is this, the 1619 Project. I'll be posting videos about it here, and I'll also be having discussions about it with my patrons on patreon.com if you're interested there. We need to rewrite the narrative of this country, and that's a social, cultural, collective struggle. Special thanks to my newest patrons. I'll see you in the next video.